Okay, I realized I had not done a Lightwave tutorial for a while, so I wanted to give you a look at something. And this is not really a tutorial, it's more of a look at how I rigged this character. And I hope you can just glean whatever you wish from it. You might want to implement some of these ideas in your own rigs, or you might not. Maybe it will give you ideas on how to do things. So let's take a look at the rig. I usually have a little object here that I call main mover, which I use to move the entire thing around. So as you can see, this is controlling the body, and underneath the main mover I have the pelvis, and then I have the spine as two separate kind of chains of bones that are parented to it, so that this way I can rotate these independently. So I can swish his butt around there if I want. Okay, and as you can see, the legs are controlled by IK, and the wings are also controlled by IK. I can move the wings around. All right, and they're also, and the neck head. I'm sorry, the neck. Let's zoom in here, and as you can see, that the neck is controlled by IK in kind of a serpentine kind of fashion, and each one of these controls is independent, so that I can get this kind of serpentine look. And the last one has the head kind of set to rotate with that last control. But also, I went ahead and did the same thing for the tail. I went ahead and built these tail controls here. As you can see, the tail, for example, has 4 of these IK controls being separate. They're not perfect because, as you can see, when you drag one, sometimes the others will go along for the ride there. Also, at the top here, if I rotate this bone, you'll see that the 2 bones here, that they rotate in a ratio. They don't rotate completely one-to-one. They're not parented to this thing per se. I'll show you in a second how I've done all that. Also, this bone down here, this bone that I used to kind of hold the frame of this wing together, it also rotates in a ratio between these 2 bones here, instead of just being parented to one or the other. So as you'll notice when I move this wing, that this bone here kind of rotates in a ratio with those. It's not completely 100% parented to that. Okay, so let me go through these bit by bit here and show you how I did these. Also, these did I show you this, that I parented at the base of each chain of bones here. For example, every complex piece, like the wing and the neck, I have a small bone here that everything's parented to, so that the IK chain and everything is parented to that. So I can, for example, flap the wings very easily just by moving this up and down. But I also have control over the IK, so I have I have very good control over all the different items here. And what I did was, of course, this is just the base of this chain of bones, and then I parented this IK target to this bone. Same thing with the neck. Let me show you how the neck is set up, because it might be different than what you're used to dealing with. I'm bringing up the motion options here, and I've set up this kind of the neck. I call it the neck controller in this case, and I just set this to be unaffected by IK descendants. The IK chain is going to stop there. And then for each bone in the neck, I set the heading and the pitch to be controlled by IK. All right, and then after about every 2 or 3 bones, I would have one of those bones in the chain point to the nearest goal item. In this case, neck IK1, and then you'll see here if we go through neck IK2, that one's pointing to. And so about every 2 or 3 bones, we have something pointing to an IK chain. And then this last bone, let's see, where is that? Oh, he's IK oriented constrained to that. But as you can see, each one of these is set to the nearest IK target after about every 2 or 3 bones. And in the end, that gave me this pretty nice kind of serpentine kind of feel to it. And I could independently move these things around. As you can see, if I go overhead here, whoops, I can get some kind of pretty extreme poses there. So I could go ahead and give his neck kind of a serpentine kind of feel to it. And I did the same thing with the tail. And of course, all these targets are parented to the neck controller, so that when I move this, I move the entire head, and that's a pretty easy to do thing. Just parent them to that controller, to that bone. And let me say that also all the IK targets here, pretty much, as you can see, if I go through this item here, this wrist bone here is the end of the IK chain of the leg, or the arm in this case. And as you can see, I've got it set to point to the hand goal target, and instead of using match goal orientation to have the IK target rotate in unison with the IK target, I use the orient constraint, because you can animate this. You can go ahead at a certain keyframe, you can turn this value off, and that way I can use the IK-FK blending to have fully controlled FK when I want to. Alright, so that way when I want to use, if I wanted to have all of these legs turn into FK animation, I could just animate, I could animate the IK-FK blending value, and then I could turn this off by just go ahead and delete the constraint at that point. Alright, and I've done that for quite a few of these, so that way I was able to have control over everything. And one other thing you'll notice is that that I hadn't done in other rigs, the bones going along the middle are black, the bones on the left side are green, and the bones on the right side are red. So that way, when I'm in a when I'm looking around, it doesn't look as, it's much easier to tell, oh, okay, this is the bones on the right side, and it's much cleaner. It's easy to do. Just Control F1, right click, and expand child items recursive. Then you can go ahead and you can just shift select a bunch of these and just click on the little bone icon, and then you can specify what color you want. Alright, so I hope that this helps out with some of your rigging. Hopefully you'll get ideas from this and learn how to do a few things. Oh, I almost forgot. These bones here, I used the follower plugin, add modifier follower, okay? And all you got to do is tell it, I told it in this case that that bone at the top that's controlling everything, I just used this as the target. I turned everything off to none except for pitch. The pitch is the only thing I want controlled by that. I told it to follow at 0.6, so basically 60% of the way I want it to be influenced by that. This one here also has the follower plugin, and it's using this bone here as the thing to follow, and all you have to do is I set this one to 0.4, so 40%, so that way when I rotate this bone on its pitch, you'll see that those bones there do not follow 100%. If they were parented to this, they would follow along 100%, and it would look really, really bad. And by playing around with these follower constraints, you can get something that looks kind of like a folding fan effect. And I did the same thing for this one. In this case, I had it follow two different bones. I had it follow the bone above it by 0.7 and the bone below by 0.3, so that way it adds up to 1. Okay, so I hope that these items will give you ideas on your own rigging tools.